They don't feel good also.
They don't feel good. And India's leading holistic health guru and corporate life coach, Mickey Mehta. How are you, Mix?
Super. I'm so excited to be next to two stalwarts, one of the radio and one of the kitchen.
Now, if you're seeing us digitally, you'll see this. This is Immunity Plus, Revitalize in 28 days. It's a wonderful collaboration between Dr. Mickey Mehta and Sanjeev Kapoor. And I must start with the personal before the professional. Can you jog your memory back, your fine memory, and tell me how long you know Mickey and when did this association first start?
Oh my God, I've known him from early 90s, I think.
Very much.
Yeah, so early 90s. I was still a working chef in a hotel, and Mickey was the rising star. I was still working as a poor surveyor. Said, this is your butter paneer masala, this is your naan, sir, good morning, sir, good evening, sir. And Mickey was the rising star. So from then on, we've I would say we have been in touch, and then I think few years ago that first acquaintance turned into familiarity, then friendship. But I've always admired Mickey for what he has done over the years, and he has stayed ahead of everything, including age. I think that's what if somebody has to learn that how not to age, that's him. And so I thought that it's better to be in close proximity of such people and try and get more. So when this offer for this book came in through a common friend and publisher, Buccal, I grabbed it with both hands.
And Mickey, in that aspect, you must share the same feeling of camaraderie,
Absolutely.
of oneness with this remarkable man. He could easily have been talking about himself.
Absolutely.
About turning back the clock.
He is very generous. Also on public forums, he does recognize my work and supports me a lot. And not only that, like his career started with Makhan Wala Paneer and Makhan Wali Dal, but career has put a lot of makhan on his career. And he is today one of the world's biggest known chefs. And I'm truly proud that not only that, he could be an equivalent or better than any food scientist because he understands food like nobody does. This was the very reason, and that's the very reason he works with very many multinationals too, to develop their products, not just for marketing and endorsing, but to advise, guide them on the development, sourcing, and of course marketing genius. That's him. Most importantly, I said, why not I take a piggy ride on Sanjeev's popularity, because he's a huge star, much bigger than I am. I'm not even a star, and truly he's earned it with the dint of his intelligence, wisdom, and very restrained behavior, which I failed to do. And
so now that is out of the way, we decided that okay, you praise me, I praise you, that's it. And now it's your turn. Rishi, you are the best radio jockey that India has ever known. That's truly what you have done is amazing, and it's such an honor to be here. It's really a pleasure, and I must tell you, this is I don't really go out for interviews, TV. It's been many years, and you'll be surprised. This is the first time. I live in Mumbai. This is an iconic building where your studio is. Not just this studio. This is the first time I'm coming into this building. There are many occasions I said, no, I don't need to. I'm very happy with what I have. Yeah. So it is something what you have done. You have created that magnetic personality that we are drawn here.
You're very kind, and I'm extremely honored. I'm speechless. Very rarely are radio presenters speechless, but I am at this moment of time. You can win yourself a copy. They're very kindly giving away copies to us. Immunity Plus, Revitalize in 28 days. I just want to test how carefully you're listening to us. Did Dr. Mickey Mehta and Sanjeev Kapoor meet in the 90s or the 2000s? Did they meet in the 90s or the 2000s? We have a WhatsApp number, 9833 943 943. 9833 943 943. Just WhatsApp along with your name. They always say that it takes 28 days, sir, to make a habit. Is that the reason why Immunity Revitalize has 28 days as its core?
So I would say for something to be kind of, it has to be deep-seated for it to become a habit. And any training, any riyaz that is done over a period of time, I think these numbers, they work more as motivators than anything else. Some people would say to acquire any new skill you need 10,000 hours to be an expert at that too. So I would say that when you use numbers, when you define, it's like goal setting, and that goal setting helps in life. So if you know where you are going, it becomes very easy. If there is a road, if you don't know where you are going, all roads will take you there, which means that you will reach nowhere. So I think this 28 days, the intent is that it is something, it's goal setting, it's something that's reasonable, it's not something that is forever. And if you want to achieve something, anything, you need to set a goal for yourself. And we believe that in 28 days, there can be a reasonable transformation that you can begin to see. So that is the importance of 28 days. Mickey, your take?
Yeah.
Mickey, I just want to add something to this.
Yes.
Normally people write only about fitness or about food. I think one really unique thing about this book is that it combines both aspects. So from that, use that as a platform to talk about immunity.
So food without fitness and fitness without food, I mean, they literally are very alone in the desert. And when they come together, they complement each other, and the confluence of both completes a person's journey of wellness, to start with. Number two, 28 days of the moon phases. The moon becomes complete, weaning, waxing. So that cycle also internally are bioclocks of a circadian rhythm. But let me tell you, the genius idea of 28 days was Sanjeev's. Also this title, Immunity Plus, that you guys see, it is his marketing genius which said, because I was saying immunity for humanity. He's saying, bhai, let's keep it simple. Immunity plus and plus sign. This truly changed the landscape of the perception of the book. So, happy that it changed that way, and thank you.
We're going to go section by section and just give some salient features, because ultimately we want you to go and buy the book. If we tell you everything about the book, you're not going to go and buy it. And I highly advocate that you buy it. It'll make a great gift for somebody you love, somebody you want to set on the path of fitness. It's available on all on-ground as well as online stores. Please go pick up a copy of Immunity Plus. Now, the first section essentially talks about prana and the science of prana. And the science of prana is created both through exercise as well as food. Sanjeev sir, I'd like you to talk about food and how it brings about prana.
See, I think food is a living thing, says it all. If there is something that has life, prana is nothing but life. So what Mickey said, that when you asked him about the connection between food and health, and I think without food there is no existence. So good or bad, I think will depend on, if we say that we are what we eat, then I think it's critical that we understand that becomes the base. And what is it making good or bad? It's the prana. It is so it is the fuel for your body, and and the body is something which is not just our physical body, it's beyond that. And that food has a larger role to play. The way it is grown, on which soil it is grown, how it is harvested, how it is cooked, with what feeling, what emotion it is cooked, and with what emotion it is consumed. So all that is interconnected. We take it very lightly. I think the whole subject will I think all of us put together may not be even able to scratch the surface of learning. Forget teaching. For us, I would say that I'm a student of food, because I'm trying to learn more and more. And more I try to learn, I realize that there's so much more that I don't know. So when you ask me this connection, I think at each at each molecule, each atom, each breath that is there, because it's not just the food, and Mickey talks about it a lot, that the air that you breathe is food for the body, right? It's not, we probably only think the things that we see we are consuming. So anything that we consume becomes our food for the body, and that's what makes this unique. I'm known for only one thing, which is the food, but there is food that we consume which is much more, and all that we are trying to. I would say this book is an attempt. I wouldn't even say this is a beginning. This is an attempt. The subject is much larger, but we want to keep it really simple. We don't want to complicate. We have done it in a way that people get it, because we are trying to get it first. So whatever we have learned, we are trying to say, okay, here it is. Learn from what we have learned, and I would say that I'm happy with what we have done. My prana is happy.
It confounds me that you still say you're learning. Your humility really is astounding, and I hope everybody who's watching and listening learns from that. Mickey, as far as prana is concerned, I want to ask you about vegetarianism, because you are vegetarian, and all the recipes in this book, I'm given to understand, are also vegetarian.
Most of them.
Most of them. So I'd like you to talk about that aspect, please.
So why most of them, and why not in entirety? For a simple reason, we wanted to cater also to people who eat meat by choice, and there's nothing wrong in that. But prana in vegetarian food in particular is the cleanest, because we say clean food, clean energy, green food, green energy. The whole movement of vegetarianism, PETA, veganism today focuses on clean health, clean energy within. Prana is the energy from the source, energy that gives you force, and prana existed even before the Big Bang existed, and it's because of the prana that Big Bang happened. And because of that prana, we will go beyond this life, beyond dimensions, and as many pralayas ever happen, prana will remain constant. So prana is the driving force of all life force, all expanded awareness, consciousness, whatever we may call, and it is the basis for our wellness and well-being. Sanchalit karta hai regulating aspect. So prana is that word in Sanskrit which we call rit. So rit is actually the regulatory principle, regulatory aspect which prana represents.
I'd like to come to foods that boost your immunity. Much has been said about what's going on in our gut, and good bacteria, bad bacteria, and I'm sure the book deals with that, and some of the recipes that you give out.
Sure. So I think, as I said, that we only look at food in a very primitive way, I would say, and our understanding is something what we see, but there are many things that we don't see at all. What kind of food that we are buying, what is our sourcing, what kind of things that we are buying, and so but that's something which becomes very difficult to control. So we say, okay, how large group of people, the way they live in cities, or be small or big, the kind of food they are eating, and with that, what is available, the air that we breathe, the water that we drink, and the food that is available to us, how can we become better? How can our immunity become better? Is what we have tried here. So now anything and everything, I normally say this, that food by themselves, they're not bad. It's who is it for, who's eating, what condition you are in. It's the body, whether they can, that body can digest it, it is good for them or not. But otherwise, food by themselves, no. How you treat that food. If you treat that food with tender love and care, that tender love and care will pass on to you. Now, in terms of, we all know, I don't think either Mickey, Sanjeev or Rishi needs to be here to tell people, okay, between salad and samosa, choose what, right? I don't think anybody needs to know that. But I think you also have to hear it more and more to know that okay, there is a knock on the door. Sleep on time, wake up on time, have regular exercise, have enough water, have fresh food. So now, if I were to give a generic answer that which is the best food for immunity, right? Then it will not be food. Oh, carrot is good, spinach. No, 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 no. Any food that is fresh, any food that is in season, any food that is locally sourced, I would say would capture the whole food principles. Rest would be embellishments, but at the core, it has to be fresh, it has to be seasonal, it has to be locally sourced, and if you can focus on that, then that's a great beginning, and everything, whether it's sweet potato or potato, whether it is green pepper or yellow pepper, whether it's green grapes or red grapes, everything has its goodness. It's not only the apple that keeps the doctor away. There are every food has something good in it. It's not that cashews are bad and walnuts are good. It's just that walnuts, there was somebody who was willing to spend money on talking about goodness of walnuts, but cashew nuts are also good. So it's not all nuts, all seeds. Goodness, what we talk. Some will have something more, some will have something else that is more. Sesame goodness is on one side, cashew nut on one side, coconut on one side. Everything has some goodness. How we focus on it, how we extract that best for us is our ability, and that's what we are trying to put in this book.
Beautiful. You, for example, when you talk about boosting immunity, talk about clearing the nasal passage and the lungs.
Very much.
I want you to emphasize the importance of that, because that goes hand in hand with the foods that Chef Sanjeev was talking about.
Yeah. So if you look at biochemistry, we have more than 6,000 pockets of air in our lungs. We have 5 lobes of lungs. We have a diaphragm which has the potential to move almost 12-13 centimeters. So when this is underutilized to its only 10-15% capacity, then your immunity is compromised. But when this capacity is taken higher with a lot of breath work. So I always say breath is primary to immunity, food is fundamental to immunity, and both are equally good. I mean, one is yin, one the other is yang. So breath and food, they go together. Literally, if you see subconsciously when we eat, we do breathe in, breathe out, not consciously, but there's a way that, you know, when you eat, while you chew the food. But if you were to do it very consciously, that food translates into prana and more yield of prana is available to you. Sanjeev taught me a very, very good thing at a very private dinner hosted by him. Some food came to me and I said this. He's saying when food comes to you, receive it with grace, because food needs respect and it's coming to you. And that taught me a very, very big lesson of my life. I did receive it, because that translates into nourishment as well. When food accepted, received in grace and had consumed with reverence, with being absolute, that has to translate into immunity. So coming back to breath is primary, food is fundamental, stretching and contracting your body. Let me not call it calisthenics, let me not call it yoga for a change, let me not call it weight training or functional training. You need to stretch your body, open up. You need to contract your body for strength. You have to stretch your body for resilience. When you stretch your body, oxygen-laden, nutrient-laden blood gets inside all your organs. When you contract it, it oozes out. So that's the way you keep the circulatory pace exactly to the point. And most importantly, your cellular regeneration happens exactly like a clockwork. The lag in cellular regeneration is disease, aging. This is what causes that. If you keep it up, then probably you're a Baba Ramdev.
Yeah, please.
Yeah,
Yes.
Rishi, you talked about gut, and I know there's a lot that is written, a lot of research that is happening about the gut microbiota. I think we need to understand that our digestive system it starts from our mouth. That is where it starts. It's not after you have eaten, after. It is when the food is in your mouth. It's a very important part. So, it's something that the enzymes that are there, they start right from there. And when we talk about mouth-watering food, it is the right enzymes have started. They start their work, and I just want to spend 1 minute on the importance of teeth and the buccal cavity that is there. So when you eat and chew your food, people say chew your food. People think that it is, oh, if I were to puree it and have it, then what is the point of chewing, right? It is same. That's what teeth are doing. It is not only masquerading the food. It is ensuring that food stays in our mouth for much longer time. Now, what does it do? Why should I keep all that food when I'm chewing? So what it does is that before it goes to your digestive system, buccal cavity, the nerve ends are such that all the food that is now become it's opened up, all the nutrients are available, they'll go directly into blood. They'll start their work. It's like modern medicine. You put it on your tongue and leave it there. What does happen? It's not intravenous injection that's happening. It starts to work. It goes directly into your blood. So if you want nutrients to start working before they can go into your stomach, and the strong stomach acids start playing, and not everything beneficial may happen. There are some loss of nutrients that may happen. Chew your food, not only because stomach has no teeth, because you will give it time for all the nutrients to directly go into the bloodstream.
Another opportunity for you to win yourself a book, Immunity Plus by Dr.Mickey, Mehta and Sanjeev Kapoor. Just tell us how many days they say you can revitalize yourself in. The number of days. Very simple. Give us the number along with your name on 9833 943 943, our WhatsApp line. 9833 943 943. Mickey, Chef Sanjeev Kapoor has fed prime ministers.
Yes.
They love his food, and what I like is the simplicity of all the menus that he's put out here, all the recipes that he's put out here. You know, you can take simple cauliflower, tomato, palak, which is cabbage, and build your immunity and revitalize in 28 days. So I'd like you to comment on that. He's a humble man. He's not going to say too much about his own proficiency, but you know, it's a well-known fact.
So whenever, much before dinner, I always, while surfing channels, I always stumble upon food. And whenever I see food, I mean, more often I see Sanjeev or his other chefs showing the food, I start watering. My mouth starts watering, then I go to the table to eat. So that's one good exercise I do as a warm-up. By the way, I mean, incidentally, Sanjeev did one interview. He interviewed Sadhguruji in Coimbatore, and they cooked food together. He'll tell you more about it later. But let me tell you something more about food here. That Pavlovian theory, where there was a scientific experiment where dogs were, put bells on, and the bell would ring, and the food would be laid, and the dog would eat.
Correct.
After a while, they did that for a long time. Then, without the food, they would only, move the bell, and the dog would salivate. So, food, as he says, that mouth becomes a very important point of digestion because of salivation. So, eat, as Sanjeev said, there are so many words I heard, learned from him for the first time. Buccal cavity. Stomach doesn't have teeth. So, that wisdom goes beyond a nutritionist, and we have the best nutritionists like Rujuta Divakar and Luke Coutinho and Pooja Makhija and our queen Anjali Mukherjee, but I'm sure Sanjeev will add so much of wisdom to their information, science and knowledge that they will learn for life.
I thought you'll talk about him feeding the Prime Minister.
So now coming to the point, I wish I could coach the Prime Minister, but it's no wonder because Sanjeev had one morning invited me for breakfast with one of my very close friends, Nikhil Morsawala, and that breakfast was phenomenal. And knowing that I'm vegetarian, special care was taken to make everything vegetarian. everything, and it was fresh, superb, and very, very nourishing. And no wonder Mr. Modi even chooses to write about him and invites him time and time again, especially when there are national banquets.
Okay, I like the fact, Sanjeev sir, that there's a section about aromatherapy, essential oils, and the sun and the moon. I'd like you to talk about that.
Yeah, I think he's an expert on
Yeah.
that. He loves that area, and he's more passionate, I must
And
say.
even before he enters the room, you can smell his oils.
Oh my God, he is. So, I must also confess that I said, oh, I'm under perfumed in presence of him. So what do I do? So I checked my car. Is there anything that I have? No, I didn't have that. I said, okay. So I would like him to, because that's his passion project. I can I work on this subject scientifically. I can say that how in food we work with this, but on this book's account, I think it's important that he talks about it.
While Sanjeev does a lot of research on the aromas of the food, but let me talk to you about the other part of it. So, Panch Mahabhutas, our elements, our tattvas, they get stimulated by all sensory perceptions. So, may it be harsha, sparsha, touch, taste, olfactory, audio, visual, all stimulate you, and they create an appetite. They also create a lust for food. So food could be either humming or it could be beckoning. If the food is clean, green, vibrant, it will be humming. It will draw you. If it is beckoning, it will kind of create a lust for it, appetite for it, where you can, go beyond the markers of your satiety signals also. So, aromas are very, very important, and especially if you see our Indian way of cooking, which I'm sure Sanjeev will endorse, and I've seen this a lot on Food Channel, that they work on condiments, they work on spices, and our Indian condiments and spices, Sanjeev does a lot of television programming on that too, a lot of research on the sources and the effects. Trust me, they add a lot of value to your wellness. Okay? Aroma itself can change your sensory perception and make you feel better. You try and take an orange, you peel it off and smell the orange rind. Your depression will turn into a high. And it will not be a momentary high like what you get with, smelling other things like unnatural perfumes, etc. But that high is to remain, and it will make you feel good, creative, productive, and it literally liberates energy into you. So aromas also liberate energy because aromas also fulfill your nourishment and nutrient requirements. So unfortunately food doesn't have sound, but visual, aroma, touch, taste, they all stimulate collectively, and as an orchestration, that food creates a symphony in you which translates into nutrients and vitality.
Wow.
Okay.
Way with words.
Oh, he is brilliant.
You want to add to that about the
Of course.
smell of
Yeah,
food?
so no, one thing I must say, so I do these sessions, and I've done many such sessions with food, and how food and senses, food and five senses. And of course, everybody knows about four senses, that you eat with your eyes, we understand that, you taste and you touch. Unless you touch, you can't really enjoy the food. People often say that sound has no role in food. And so I beg to differ. So we worked.
Wow, I want to hear this.
Yeah. So imagine you are sitting. You want to have let's have some seafood. Okay. Now, if there's sound of ocean that's there, right? In a place where there is sound, when the soothing music that's there, your relaxation is more. The way you enjoy food is much more, and it's not only the ambient sound that we are talking. Now there is research, and I have access to that, and I in my sessions on five senses and food, I talk about it. People who cannot hear do not enjoy crispy foods the way people who can hear them.
Like fried also.
Crispy. So sound of crispiness. So whether it's papad, whether it's golgappa, imagine that you were not hearing that. Would you enjoy it as much? No, you would not. So crispy as a texture is loved, but it's loved more because there is sound of that. So all five senses at play when it comes to food. So we're trying to work on all these senses.
So Hrishikesh, this is why I insist that Sanjeev comes for interviews so that I get to learn all of this.
Oh, wonderful. Before we sign off, I'd like you to congratulate Mickey because he has officially finished 10 years on RadioOne doing a show called Light of Life.
Wow.
Where he talks about wellness, holistic healing, and I think it's one of the longest running shows on FM radio on wellness.
Amazing. Congratulations, Mickey. I think
thank you very much.
Truly remarkable. I think it's a partnership made for each other. I think the best radio channel and the best show on wellness should be done by my friend and co-author Mickey Mehta. Congratulations to both.
Thank you.
I think it's not just and I'm very happy for the listeners because they are benefiting for 10 years. Fantastic. Great work.
Hrishikesh, you wanted to ask Sanjeev about the intermittent fasting, whether it's a fad, fallacy, or the reality, and I'm sure he has a couple of things to say.
Sure.
Yeah, we met another radio presenter outside who was talking about intermittent fasting and who insisted
Just
if
before
I do
you came
that,
in,
I will drop kilos.
Right.
So I said I had to. I think that's a even better way to round up. What do you gentlemen feel about intermittent fasting?
My thing on weight loss is just one of the things, and that's I think it's how people perceive you. So many people who have more weight is not because they feel they have more weight. It's people around them make them feel that they have more weight. It's a perceptible problem more than the real problem at times. It's the how healthy you feel. And if there is extra weight that you have, start throwing your weight around. You'll find different ways to do it.
That's very well said. Very
wonderful,
well said.
wonderful.
I do have a comment on this that it has become an unnecessary rage. That's number one. And unless you have challenging wellness conditions or unless you are struggling with obesity, I wouldn't tell people to get on to intermittent fasting. Do that if you wish, maybe once in 15 days or twice in a month or thrice a month max. But otherwise, eat whenever you're hungry. Sanjeev once said in one of the interviews we did together, कि कोई चीज़ की अति ना हो. So not too much. So whenever you're hungry and you eat, that's very, very good for your body. Of course, science says that intermittent fasting, which otherwise people call it autophagy, and a step before that is called macrophagy. It helps us consume our own toxins should we allow space in the body. And autophagy typically balances one element which nothing else can balance, which is the ether, akasha. But only if you have a condition. Don't just do it because somebody else is doing it. And eat whenever you're hungry. Last thing I'd like to tell you about one thing which is very close to my heart. Everybody is on the bandwagon of walking 10,000 steps. So I tell people that if you walk 10,000 steps every day, someday you will reach the sun and the moon, but you will not build immunity for winters, summers and monsoons. For that, do yoga.
Well said. Immunity Plus, Revitalize in 28 Days by Dr. Mickey Mehta and Sanjeev Kapoor is in all on-ground as well as online stores. Please go buy it. Thank you, gentlemen. It's such a pleasure, such a learning experience.
One last thing. Sanjeev had come up with a wonderful line while we were planning for the marketing of this. He's saying in 28 days, feel good, look great and perform better.
And like you always say, Mickey Mize.
Oh yeah. Get immunized, get Mickey Mize.
Mickey Mize. Thank you.
Thank you.
तो अभी एक होता है Instagram reel.
Oh yes.
Without a reel.
So if you can think of one wonderful sentence to say about Mickey and vice versa.
Yeah, vice versa. Chalo. Sir, seniority in profession. Age में तो मैं बड़ा हूँ ना.
हाँ तो चलो फिर शुरू.
नहीं
फिर तो एज वाले ना हो ही नहीं सकता ऐसा.
आप नजदीक में बैठे.
नहीं ऐसा नहीं करेंगे.
तुम कर लोगे रील या वो लड़की बाहर खड़ी है वो कर लेगी.
उनको बोल दो कर अभी तो
हाँ तो
बुला लो.
दरवाजा खोलो.
Priyanka, just please, if you don't mind, call
There's
the
a girl
lady.
called Desha.
Desha.
Hi
Desha.
Desha.
Desha without Klesha. Come.
कट कर कैमरा ना
Thank you so
हाँ
much.
कैमरा कट कीजिए आप वहाँ से हट जाइए क्योंकि ये बच्ची आएगी वहाँ पे.
By the way, Sanjeev, that's Priyanka. She's. Oh, you met her.
Yeah,
You met her when you came.
उसको दरवाजे से दबाने की कोशिश कर रहे हैं.
Ah, बराबर. Brother, you haven't come to my news center, and
No, I haven't.
I have access to Grant for the same. So,
अच्छा खाना खिलाओगे तो आ जाएंगे.
सीधी बात है.
When you start the video, they have the option about saving it.
बेटे कुछ नहीं खाता है.
No, I don't know.
बाहर भी जाता है तो खुद इतना खाएगा दूसरों को
Now
खिलाता
I
है.
don't know because when we started,
दिशा इधर आओ
yeah.
बच्चे. Come in here. This is a reel, Instagram reel. Yeah.
Yeah.
So just record this. Just you'll have to squeeze in and come in the center if you can. थोड़ा वो माइक बंद करिए. लाइट हटाइए ना.
एक भाड़ा उधर ही
ये दोनों माइक वहाँ रख दीजिए. Mickey, just give him your mic.
Oh, please, of course. Thank you, brother.
So how it goes is, Immunity Plus Revitalize in 28 days. Please go buy the book.